Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar The Last Airbender / Legend of Korra news update video. And yeah, even though I just did one like yesterday, I have another video because some pretty, at least to me, exciting news or interesting news broke, and that's just that a new Avatar The Last Airbender book has just been announced. Listings are up on Amazon, and also where we've been getting a lot of our new book information from Edelweiss. They put up a description and some information about this book too. So first of all, the book is called Avatar The Last Airbender Legacy. You can see the temporary cover for the book here. As you can see, it says it's temporary, hence why it's not the main cover. But here's the image. Um, So yeah, not much you can really make out about the book from the image because it is just a very general image of Aang, in his book one kind of gear, Nickelodeon Avatar: The Last Airbender, and final cover to be revealed. So it's going to have a different cover. Um, Other key points are just that we have an author on this book, and it is Michael Teitelbaum, and the illustrations are by Lawrence Christmas. The book's going to cost $24.99 US, in America, obviously, but pre-orders up on Amazon are cheaper than that. Like I just put it in a pre-order, and I think it was €22 shipped here, and I ordered on Amazon.com because it was cheaper and I'd get it earlier. So that's just a little tip on that. So you can get the book for cheaper, but yeah, 64 pages long, and I'll explain why 64 pages for $25. That's a pretty hefty price tag for a pretty short book. Also, the dimensions of this book are very unique as well. As you saw from the image, it's a square because the book is actually 7 inches by 7 inches. So it's a reasonably big book, but the fact that it's square is quite unusual. But as I'm going to read the description of this book, it's probably going to tell you a lot about what it actually is. Um, let's see. It starts off with it just general, earth, air, fire, water, four nations, and all this stuff. And then it says here, after this, together Aang and his friends went on to save the world. Now a man, Aang looks back on these adventurous years, from being found in the ice to fighting epic battles to negotiating peace. This is Aang's story, his mementos, and his keepsakes. Avatar: The Last Airbender Legacy is the collection that Aang passes down to his son Tenzin, who will one day be a master airbender too. Readers will relish Aang's heroic tales and the posters, clippings, cards, and maps that he gathered along the way. So that explains the big price compared to the number of pages. It's because this book is going to have these mementos, it's going to have these kind of relics in some ways from Aang's life in this kind of book, and the whole idea is that he's giving this book to Tenzin to kind of guide him while he's gone. And that's really interesting because a lot of if you've ever had one of these books before, the idea is that it doesn't have a massive amount of pages, but their pages are kind of thick, and they've got like little kind of panels you can pull out, and they've got these stuff in it, like a little map, a little poster, or stuff like that. I believe they primarily do them. I think I have one of the books about Star Wars. It's a Darth Vader style book, and it has all these various stuff, like the first ever drawing of him, and there's like a replica of it, and you can pull it out. It's got references of all that, like ads that talk about Darth Vader. In this case, it's going to be more kind of story focused, in that you'll probably get like a map of their journey around Avatar: The Last Airbender, and you'll be able to open it out, and it'll be kind of replica like. There's cards, posters, clippings. I'm not really sure what they're going to be in relation to Aang's journey, because just referencing the show, he gave the poster, his wanted poster, to Wan Shi Tong, so he probably doesn't have that again. Maybe he found another one, and we might get an actual version of the wanted poster. But there is the potential to get some very interesting things from this book. Just in terms of the idea that basically we're going to get kind of props from the show, kind of from this book in a unique way, and that's going to be really cool. Plus, the actual text in the book is going to be stories that Aang is basically telling Tenzin advice. I assume we'll maybe get some airbending kind of technique thoughts or something like that from Aang to Tenzin. And this will probably further explain some of that, Aang Katara family dynamic if he talks about it. a lot about the main quality of this book is really going to depend on how how much this book is really aimed at hardcore fans, or is it meant for just for kind of kids, and that's going to be a key thing. It's from like a publisher I've never heard from before, Insight Editions. So I'm not really sure if they do kids books or not, but just based on the description, this definitely seems to be something more aimed at giving, the hardcore fans something new, in that we're going to get these kind of memoirs of Aang that he gave to Tenzin before he died, and the fact that there's kind of collectibles involved in the book too seems very much that it's aimed at us and not so much something for the kids just getting into Avatar or anything like that. So very interesting book, very interesting announcement. I hope it's kind of more of a collectible piece, as I said, but definitely interesting. It was interesting enough that I immediately put a pre-order in, as I said, and I'm very excited to see what this book actually turns out like, what the cover is actually like, and especially if Mike O'Brien actually mentioned anything, like what their involvement was in the book. Is the stuff we're going to get in this book, is it going to be canon or not, and all of this other stuff. Either way, very, very interesting for me, just because it's the first kind of one of these type of books that we've got, because primarily we've been talking about, comics, library editions of the comics, and that How to Draw Korra book that's come out. And then suddenly this kind of more reference style book, it's kind of like an in-universe kind of like diary from one character to another with collectibles, items from that character's life. Like, it's very unique and something that we haven't really had so far yet. There have been books that have come out, like the Lost Scrolls, where you have characters basically like writing a journal of their kind of journey through the world. That kind of basically was certain characters recapping episodes from Avatar The Last Airbender. And it wasn't really that interesting because it was just, you didn't get so much the thoughts of any of the characters in the Lost Scrolls book. It was just pretty much a recap, but instead of, Katara says this to this person, it's just like, I said to Katara, like as Sokka's writing it or something like that. So that's going to tell a lot if, is there new content, or is this literally just going to be a recap of Avatar The Last Airbender? There's some good signs in that it mentions like stuff that happens after Avatar The Last Airbender. It references the fact that he has a son Tenzin, so that's Korra style stuff. It references negotiating peace, which is comic stuff from like The Promise and so on. So this seems to hint that at the very least it's going to reference the stuff that is not the show, and that's very interesting, that this book is not just referencing the show, but it's referencing everything in Aang's life, and that's going to be very interesting. So yeah, I've said interesting a lot. I'm super excited about this book, and I definitely want us to know what your guys' thoughts are. Please comment below with your own thoughts on this book. I'm super excited for it, and I can't wait to talk about it tomorrow on the podcast, Avatar Online Podcast, episode 95. I think it's just going to be myself, Troy, and Greg tomorrow, and we're going to talk about this piece of news. We're going to talk about the fact that Book 3 production has been complete, that the pre-production on Book 4 is coming to an end, so a lot of the kind of crew working at Nickelodeon is actually going to be completely done with Korra fairly soon, plus some of the other little bits that we got throughout the week. Our discussion topic, as I said in my last video, is going to be focusing on the role of parents in Avatar and Korra, and their role that, their impact on their kids has had on, the stories and stuff like that we've got. So should be a fun show tomorrow, but thanks for watching this video, and bye.